I kind of want it to be the same height so then like I can read it and like a prompter type.
Yeah.
I did that effect where I put the letter on the bottom. It looks like I'm reading from the bottom.
Yeah.
Hi, how are you? My name is Makasi, and today we're gonna talk about this H&M shirt that I got for $9. You know, it's really nice, huh? Look at the fabric. Wait. My producer just informed me. We're not gonna talk about H&M. We're gonna talk about fast fashion is good. Can you repeat that? Okay, fast fashion is good, okay. Alright, send me the talking points. So today I actually do want to talk about why fast fashion is good, but I'm not going to talk about it from the environmental standpoint. I'm going to talk about something that you and I can relate to. Other human beings. And I feel like we should care about other human beings more than the world. Because the earth do not give a shit about us. As Jim Jeffries once said, when we're gone, you know, the earth might decide,
you know what, fuck it, we're gonna do dinosaurs again. Let's do dinosaurs again.
So the earth don't care about us. We should care about one another more. So a little bit of a disclaimer. I am going to include a lot of jokes. I'm going to make light of a serious situation. I'm going to put some random noises. Noise like this, noise like this, noise like stuff like that, you know. I'll put meme here, meme here, meme here. But know that I do take this issue seriously, but I want it to be enjoyable while you're learning. And I will be, you know, I did my research. Not thoroughly, but just I did enough research to know what I'm talking about. I'm also going to provide you with some common sense facts, as I like to call it, you know, like it just, if you think about it longer than 2 seconds, you'll know that it makes sense. So first, let's talk about where fast fashion come from or how it was popularized. So according to fashionista.com, if you ever wonder when fashion trends began moving at a dizzying speed, it was the 1960s. As young people embraced cheaply made clothing to follow these new trends and reject the sartorial tradition of older generations, soon, fashion brands had to find ways to keep up with this increasing demand for affordable clothing, leading to massive textile mills opening across the developing world, which allowed the US and European companies to save millions, or should I say billions of dollars by outsourcing their labors. At first, I'm going to provide you with a bunch more facts just so we get a baseline of what we're talking about. So I'm mainly going to be talking about Cambodia and Bangladesh. Cambodia because I have first-hand experience, and Bangladesh because it's the second most exporter of garment after China. So this is a quote that I found from betterwork.org, and it was written in 2018, so it's still relevant, I think. So it goes, the garment sector remains at the heart of the Cambodian economy, generating 73% of exporting earning and formally, and I want you to focus on that word, formally, employing more than 650,000 Cambodians. The majority of them are women. Garment worker earns a living for themselves and they support others, helping to ensure improved living conditions, health and education with their family members. It is estimated that each garment worker supports another 3 to 4 family members, and as such, 2 million Cambodians depend on the garment sector for their livelihoods. And I want you to remember this quote when I'm talking about Cambodia. I'm going to provide you with another statistic. So in August and September of 2020, WRC surveyed both employed and recently unemployed garment workers from 158 factories in Bangladesh, Cambodia, El Salvador, Ethiopia, Haiti, India, Indonesia, Lesotho, and Myanmar. The surveys, the results of which were published in November, found that 20% of respondents had grappled with hunger on a daily basis since the pandemic began, and another 34% had gone hungry at least once a week. Some 75% of workers surveyed reported they had borrowed money or taken on debt since the start of the pandemic just to afford food. According to Reuters, thousands of Bangladeshi garment workers who lost their jobs due to the coronavirus pandemic are struggling to find work and are at risk of destitution without urgent support, advocates said. At least 70,000 people are estimated to have been laid off after 3.5 billion worth of clothing orders were canceled or suspended, and export plummeted by 84% in April. The Bangladesh Garment Manufacturer and Exporter Association. Another quote that I want to pull, which is really important, and if you were to take something away from those couple of statistics, I want you to remember this one. So it says, Well, factory bosses says that the sector has seen a recent uptick with 90% cancel order reinstated and is hiring again. Activists said demand for jobs outstripped supply and pointed to a lack of alternative and assistance for fired garment workers. For every 10 workers who lost their job, only one is being hired. Kapun Akhtar, founder of Bangladeshi Center for Worker Solidarity, told the Thomson Reuters Foundation by phone, "This is putting the lives of thousands of workers and their family at risk because they haven't earned up for the last 3 to 4 months. With no social security to tide them over, many of the workers have had to leave Dhaka to return to their villages and are now relying on food handout from local charities." Let's talk about some major players in the game. So obviously we have Zara, H&M, Target, Topshop, Primark, Walmart, Urban Outfitter, The Gap, Fashion Nova, Shein, Mango, ASOS, Hot Topic, Nasty Gal, and Boohoo. And there are a lot more. These are just some of the main players, like the biggest of all players. I want this video to be like a one-stop shop. So let's talk about what the factory looked like. So here are some photos of what the factory looks like. And to contrast this, while we are talking about Bangladesh and Cambodia, the most imported are textile garments, and the second most are farming. Farming is still popular there in both places. Now, one of these two industries is thriving. What do you think that is? Would you rather prefer a steady income in a workplace, or would you rather be in the sun in a dying industry and with a lot of unknown variables, like climate change, drought, lack of water, lack of rain, whatever it is, and I'm sure it's obvious, you would rather be in a factory. So we should talk about the conditions in these factories, and I'm sure you read many reports, so I don't have to get into that. We know it's bad, and we know it's not up to the standard of the Western world, but in a developing world, that's the best you can afford, that's the best you can do. You just have to deal with it, and this variable we just have to put aside for a moment. And I know it's a big one, but we have to put it aside for a moment. So again, as I am Cambodian, I have first-hand account of talking to some of these factory workers, but it is a bit outdated. The last time I've done this was 10 years ago, but I feel like in an industry that is so big, that worth billions and billions of dollars, it's bureaucratic. So it's gonna be hard to change. So I feel like the information should still be relevant. And as far as my research have concluded, it's pretty similar. Besides like in the raise in salaries, not much have changed. Conditions have gotten better a little bit because we all have more phones, so we can document better. Like the worker can document the harassment and the lack of humanity that is going on in the factories. One of my main things about doing this video is that I don't like how Western media report these news. And again, if you just look at the headline of these reporting, it's very negative. And you do have to remember that the news only show negative news. I mean, they do show positive news, but the majority of it is negative news, because I don't care what side of the political aisle you are standing on, objectively speaking, the news media will not show you,
"Here's 10,000 of factory workers going home safely."
Or it's the same reason you don't see headlines, this local drug dealer has successfully delivered his drug to his clients. The title will always be, "There's a bunch of death happening in this factory, we gotta dig into it." Or the local police have captured a local drug dealer and seized $20,000 worth of drugs and some Dogecoin. You don't see those sort of titles. Western newspaper are a business as well. They need your attention. And with the introduction of the internet, the paper industry, the paper side is dying. So like, people have more access to news than ever. Like, if you don't find what you want on, let's say, the Washington Post, you can just go to CNN or CNBC. I don't know about you, but if a page were to ask, like, I don't pay for news, and I'm assuming you don't pay for your news either. Like, okay, if I go on a news website and it says disable your ad blocker, I will literally just leave and go find another website. I am not going through that trouble. Do you think I'm gonna pay for the news when there's a bunch more where I can just read for free about the same thing? Okay, so my next segment for this video is that what the world would look like if fast fashion doesn't exist from the perspective of the garment, or from the perspective of the factory worker. So let's say we all decided to stop buying fast fashion. Let's say the media outrage have reached a boiling point and we all agreed, no more fast fashion. the government says, Zara, you gotta shut down. Let's say that happened. Let's say all of that happened and all the fast fashion are gone and everybody's gonna be buying sustainable clothes, which I'm making a video about that soon. I don't have a good opinion. I'm gonna make a video about that soon. Let's say that happens. Do you feel proud now? You know, with the coronavirus, I can actually show you the result of these factories shutting down and what they would actually look like and what it would be like, excuse me, for these factory workers. I'm gonna read you something from Vox, and this specifically focus on the two countries I'm talking about, Cambodia and Bangladesh. So, for nearly a year, Aya spent up to 10 hours a day at Trax Apparel in Phnom Penh, the capital of Cambodia, where she stitched sportswear for brands such as Adidas for $300 a month. Soon after COVID-19 hit the shores of the Southeast Asian country, the company's once humming production line suddenly ground to a halt. In April 2020, she was sent home. 2 months after, she was furloughed. Aya was dismissed. Aya, who asked that her last name to be withheld for privacy reasons, received a final wage plus the $80 in suspension support from the Cambodian government, but not the severance payment she was legally owed. Without savings to help cushion the fall, she has to bounce from temp position to temp position, unable to send money to her family and barely making ends meet herself. And now I want you to draw your attention back to how each garment industry worker is supporting a family of 3 to 4 back home in the provinces. What we can learn from this story, you know, no matter how bad the factory jobs are, they are a more viable, they are a more stable source of income for people in countries where jobs are scarce and corruption runs rampant. So my next segment, I'm titling it Now What? I don't know if I'm going to change it. If I am, I'll change it in post. But okay, so let's continue with the scenario we just laid down. Okay, so the factories are bad for the worker. You're going to report the factories and get it shut down. Are you happy now? Are your savior complex satisfied? Do you feel accomplished? Do you feel like you're right or wrong in the world? Don't forget that you're on the outside looking in. You're not one of these factory workers. You just took away jobs from hundreds, thousands of people because your moral and standard were not met in a country full of corruption and lack of job prospects. I have first-hand account because I used to live in the same building as these garment workers in Cambodia. Now granted, my primary first-hand account was 10 years ago, but I still feel as though it is relevant. Let me tell you a story. So when I talk to these workers, most of which are women, you know, it's a dream for most of them to come to the city and work in a factory. It's a dream job. It's like, you know, what the kids now want to be, like TikTok famous, you know, this is a similar version, but a more grounded version in Cambodia. You know, when they come to the city, like the people in the province, their family, the whole neighborhood, like they throw a party for them, like, oh my God, she's gonna get to go to the main city. She's gonna be able to send money back to support her family. She's gonna be great for that family. That's how it is, you know. And another thing is that they don't have to farm, and their family who are staying behind will continue to farm, but that particular woman will not have to farm. She will be able to go work in the big city, working at a stable job with a stable income, and she can send some of those money back to her family who are still farming, which is a dying industry. You know, like these people, they come to the big cities, they work hard, they celebrate on the weekends, and they send their money back to their family back in the provinces. No matter how harsh the conditions are in the factory job, it's still worthwhile for them to get this job because there is no other job. The other option they have is farming, which their family back home is doing, and it's not working. Like, every year they're losing money as climate change continue to disturb our way of life and, you know, continue to intrude on all of us. They will be the first that hit hardest, the farmers. My thing is that do not let your Western privilege ruin the job prospects of many people living in a country where jobs are scarce, living conditions are bad, and the government are corrupt. And I think that's my main point. Every now and then I see reportings and people get outraged, petition are signed, social media posts. You know, they treat these news as if they are in the US. Like, you know, they have like a petition, have any semblance of power to change anything. We live in a democracy, and petition can barely change in a democracy. Imagine what it does in a totalitarian state. Imagine what it does in Bangladesh when the government is still new and the corruption still runs rampant. Just please look at it in another perspective. I get that you think you're doing something right, but I don't think you are. petitions. They barely work in a democracy. What do you think happened when you sign a petition and say, let's shut down this factory in Cambodia? What do you think that's gonna do? Be honest. Like, be honest with yourself. Are you satisfying yourself, or do you actually want real change for these people? I want to put this in a perspective that I am a factory owner. So I am a factory owner in Bangladesh and Cambodia. I own 2 factories. The condition in my factories are subpar, but the government is in the back of my pocket. What are you gonna do about it? I'm just gonna pay them to look the other way. Now, here comes a bunch of Western journalists bombarding me, meet up with ununionized workers, probing into my business. Here's what I would do, I would simply meet with the journalists. I would simply meet with the ununionized, unionized, or non-existent with zero leadership experience from a group of workers who has close to zero knowledge about the deal that I have with the government. So I'm gonna meet with the Western media. I'm gonna meet with the workers. I will listen to your demands, to their demands. I am gonna pretend I am negotiating with you and give in on a few rights, a few basic rights that you rightfully deserve from the beginning. But if I do that, it's gonna cut my revenue. The margin is gonna be a lot lighter for me. After I do that, the Western media's get its savior complex satisfied. The workers are momentarily happy and, not protesting anymore. They're gonna be working for me again. Products can continue to push. The cycle continue. Globalism live, capitalism lives. And we are happily ever after, right? All right, the Western journalists are gone. The NGO, they can barely do anything. No more scrutiny from the Western journalists who are annoying as fuck. Okay, so here's what's happened next. Western media will leave. The NGO will have, very little power to deal with me now, who pretty much own the government in the back of my pocket. Workers will get back to work. My deal with the local government will continue. I might even get a discount, I'll be like, hey, those Western media bother me for a few weeks. And, I lost some money. Can we cut a different deal? Can you give me a discount? Huh? These are not facts. This is common sense. Just put 2 and 2 together. A corrupt government, a person with a lot of money. I feel like we can all agree that this is common sense, right? There will be that one worker, or there are few workers, or dozens of workers who have talked to the Western media. Do you not think I will find out what their names are? Do you not think if I offer enough reward, one of the workers will, rat on you? In a country where $300 is the median income, or $150 in Haiti, whatever it was, if I offer $1,000, do you think they will not take it? Do you think I will not get those names? Now here's what's gonna happen to those workers. I will fire them, but I will list a reason as to something else. Now, who's gonna hold me responsible, huh? Do you think the Western media is gonna come back? Maybe they will. Or, even when they do, I would wait a little bit longer. I would say 6 to 8 months from now. I'll just fire them when I see them do something wrong. Or if they come in late to work one day, I will find the stupidest reason and I will fire those fuckers. That's what I'm gonna do. That's what I would do if I was a factory owner. So I lay down the presumptuous facts that are based on common sense that will follow after that event, after that transgression. And you're gonna be like,
well, wouldn't they be protected by the whistleblower program?
what are you talking about? They don't even have social securities. They don't even have health care. Do you think they can have a whistleblower protection program? I will get those names. I will fire those people and nothing will happen to me. I will use bogus claim that this worker is not good anymore. They're getting old. I want something better. I want someone better. I will fire a few more workers. Just to set an example. You want to protest again? Here's what's going to happen to you guys. You want to do that again? Let's test it. Let's test how bad you want it, huh? This is the most drastic measure of all, but it is a possibility. I will literally fire everyone and hire a different group of people who are more desperate for the job that you have, because I know the job prospect in this country, in that country, in Cambodia, in Bangladesh. There are not a lot of jobs, so I will always find people to work for me. Now, is that too far-fetched? Maybe. Is it a possibility? Absolutely. Oh, the fired employee can just file for unemployment. Yeah, they definitely have that. They don't have social security, but they definitely have unemployment. Oh my God, what's gonna happen to them? They're gonna be without healthcare? Healthcare? They don't even have rights. They barely have any rights. You didn't have healthcare. Let's be real. Here's a response from a big fast fashion company. Again, built-in deniability. Here's what I would do if I was a PR director for Zara. Well, these factories, they're not ours. We are simply partners, and we can only do so much to police our partners. But again, I reiterate, they are our partners. We will look into our supply chain and root out these problems to the best of our abilities. And we will publish them in a 400-page report that we will not advertise to the public who doesn't read the terms of agreement to use any website. And you know, we're gonna put them in a tiny corner where if you wanna read it, you have to look for it. We're gonna make you jump through hoops to look for this 400-page boring essay. And you know where I'm gonna put that? At the end of that 400-page essay. I am providing jobs and you are here momentarily. Now this is me talking to the Western media. I am a factory owner, not Makasi. I'm a factory owner right now, all right? I'm a dickhead. Just, let's separate the two. All right, so you know, the Western media, you know, what are you gonna do to me? Huh? Do you have the capacity to stay here 24/7 to police me? Do you have the resource for that? Do you have the funding for that? Let's say you do. What are you gonna do? I can just talk to the government and they will back me up. Again, they're in the back of my pocket. I am bribing the living shit out of them. And they also need money. They want money. They actively seek money. Unless you can upend the status quo of the working conditions for these workers, leave them alone. Unless you can show that changes are permanent and that these factories are held accountable for their actions, leave them alone. You are causing problem, unnecessary problem for hardworking individuals in a country where jobs are scarce. Are you getting it? Are you getting my point? To those Western media reporting, are you doing this because you care about the workers? Or do you need to fill in that 10 minutes before you talk about Trump and Kylie Jenner with her new best friend, who was an ex-best friend of Jordan Wood? Oh my God, the drama. Oh, Western medias are businesses. They run a business. They need revenue. They need profit. They need to stay in business. They do what they need to get the clicks. Why am I making this video? Why am I talking all this trash? Why am I pretending to be a factory owner in Cambodia and Bangladesh? I want to offer a perspective that I haven't seen online. Maybe they are out there, but I have not seen them myself. So I want to use the platform of this 200 subscriber to, you know, shed a light on this thing. Of course, I want these workers to get treated fairly, but we don't live in a dream world. You know, we have to be a bit realistic. We have to be a bit pessimistic. We have to be on the pessimistic spectrum. We can't be too dreamlike. The world doesn't work that way. You know, a news report will not suddenly make a corrupt person like a factory owner. Excuse me. A news report will not make a corrupt country, will not make a corrupt factory owners and say, you know what? They just opened my eyes. Let's just cut profit. I'm gonna get less revenue. I'm gonna give it a bit to my workers and then happily ever after. Oh, the end. What a good story, huh? We have to be realistic. We're messing with someone else's livelihoods here. The Western media, when they report these things, they are causing problems to hundreds, thousands of workers who rely on this stable job to support their whole family living in the provinces. Again, that fact I stated in the beginning, one garment worker equals 3 to 4 mouths to feed. Now, do you see how important this job is to that family? Do you see how important this job is to that person supporting the family that are barely holding on, farming in the provinces? Do you see it now? Do you see what I'm talking about? Do you see what I'm trying to get to you? Now, I'm not talking to you as if I'm angry at you, the viewer. this is a new perspective that I want people to consider before they voice their opinion about, let's just end fast fashion. Let's just end all these fashion. You know, the conditions are bad. They don't live up to my moral, to my standard, to my Western standard. Shut it down, baby. Perspective is important. We have to look at it from a different perspective. We have to try our very best to see it from the viewpoint of the workers. They're working hard. These rich asshole journalists are coming in to disrupt my life. How would that feel if that was you? Now you may think, oh, how do you know the Bangladeshi, how do you know these factory owners have like the government in their back pocket? Okay, listen to this article from New York Times. With the international monitoring deals winding down, Bangladesh factory owner, many of whom serve in the parliaments or own newspapers. They own newspapers. They are the government. They are the corrupt ones. Do you see it now? Do you see the point I'm trying to establish here? Please look at it from my perspective. Just consider it. I don't want you to just listen to me and then go full wholeheartedly and agree with me. I want you to look into it and just consider this perspective that I am providing you. It's a new one to me because I haven't seen them online. If they are, point me in the right direction. I want to talk to that person. And yes, you can cite me. I'm a primary source. Yes, my source is 10 years outdated, but they are primary. I want to end the video with this. Unless you can provide them better working and living conditions, and you have the attention span 400% of your time to see this through, to see that all these workers are getting better jobs that maybe are not in the garment industry, in a different industry, whatever that may be. Can you offer 100% of your effort to really see it through that these workers get the rights that you think they deserve, that they do deserve? But do you have the attention span to actively try to get a fucking corrupt government and apparently Bangladeshi factory owners who are the government to change their minds, to say, hey, you want to cut some of that revenue, you want to cut some of that profit margin, and give some to your workers? Can you do that? The roots of all of this, why it is possible for these companies to pay these people fucking shit salary, is poverty, lack of job prospect, and a corrupt government. Now these are the roots of all that problems. If you solve these three, which are very hard to do, America can't even solve its own, then you can solve this problem of workers' rights in these factories. If all you can do is get rid of these jobs that they desperately need, and you don't offer them an alternative, what are you doing? Can you provide them with a better job? You're saying the job that they're in now, you want to cancel it, you want to shut it down. Can you provide these thousands of workers with a better job? Can you do that? If you can't, what are you doing? And I think I'm gonna end it with that right there. I know this sounds a bit angry, but I'm passionate about it. Now, there are holes in my stories, in my research, and I want this to be a conversation. I want to start a dialogue. So, tell me where I'm right, tell me where I'm wrong. Let's start a conversation. Let's start a dialogue. And with that, thank you. Thank you very much for watching. I will see you in the next video. Maybe I'll review a Philippine shirt. Bye-bye.